Hey, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Thank you for stopping in. Today we have an exciting knife to take a look at for you guys. Before we get started, double check and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I'd love to have you here. And before you head out, do me a huge favor. Hit the thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it, everyone. It really helps push the videos out there so more people have a chance to check it out. And feel free to let me know what you're carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. So we got a knife here coming in from good old Kansept, and they have just done a phenomenal job all year. And they had some really cool stuff at Blade Show. I wasn't sure what this was because this showed up while I was at Blade Show. I thought it was Kansept, but I wasn't sure. So I figured I'd pull it out of the mailer, but obviously I have not been into this yet. I do not know which knife it even is. I think it's one we talked about, but for the life of me, I cannot remember. Oh, yes. I can and do remember now talking about this fella here. This is going to be called the Rye, and that is a karambit maker coming in 20 CV steel. That is interesting. So right off the rip, this is going to be a more standard size, not going to be overly large or too small, in my opinion. This is going to be a good size in a lot of people's wheelhouses. We can check what the full length is here in a moment. We do have a nice drop point style of blade here. Nice little swedge going to that tip, and we have a very heavy stone wash, which is going to be great for taking on wear and usage. We already mentioned coming in 20 CV, which is going to be a great steel, especially for edge retention and corrosion resistance. It is a top-notch performer in both of those categories. We have dual thumb studs, and we have a rear flipper tab for deployment. And I gotta say, the detent is tuned very nicely. Nice and snappy on this guy. Even if you just give it like a little light something, it still wants to come pushing out of there. You see I missed it. So it's pretty good. It's pretty heavy. It's not overly heavy. I think it's right on the money or very close. You have that flipper tab there, so it will drop and hit your thumb there, and then one easy little shake will send this guy right home, or two very light shakes. We do have an exposed frame lock here, and this has a nice anodized style finish to it. Almost has like a antiqued goldish hue to it with gold hardware and thumb studs. We do have a couple of gold standoffs, so we have open construction. We have internal milling there for weight relief, and this, it's a fairly substantial looking and feeling knife, but it's not overly heavy at all. It's got a good weight to it. It's not too heavy to the point where it feels unwieldy, but you feel like, hey, I got something sturdy and structural in the hand. And now noticing this is really cool. It's almost like a file work 3D titanium milled pocket clip. So instead of just leaving it plain old smooth, which there's nothing wrong with that, it's just cool to see people, companies, designers taking things to that next step. And let's add some crazy texturing to that milled clip. Instead of just leaving it smooth, let's give it a little character, and that definitely did the trick there. I don't know if you could actually, that looks mainly like very fine jimping. I was going to say you might be able to use it. You probably could in some occasions or instances actually use that as a file depending on what you're trying to do. Ergonomics, you're kind of going to be in, especially with your hand size, you're going to be in a certain grip, which will be this one right here. And I got to say, for my hand size, fits pretty good. It's pretty comfortable. I don't feel any crazy hot spots or anything like that. I don't feel the clip at all. And then the next thing I look for is how the spine feels in my hand. That's typically the first thing I look for, that and the pocket clip. And this feels pretty good. Not having a backspacer or anything in there feels pretty good. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like in the pocket. It's going to be like a standard milled clip here. We'll have a little bit poking out, plus an added touch with this little tail here. Probably going to be right around that 1/2 inch mark or so, which is typically what we look for here. And yes, it's going to be right at that 1/2 inch mark, just a smidge over, which is perfectly fine. That gives you the ability to just grab a hold of this thing and pull it out of the pocket. Has great retention on there. It's definitely got a little bit different of an aesthetic to it. On this side, on the show side, and also on the clip side as well. I like that they did the dimpling on both sides, even though it had to go over onto the lock bar. I'm glad they went with it and stuck with the flow. It looks really good. Looking at smooth titanium or smooth anode titanium all of the time, it's nice. It's good looking. It feels good. It's just nice to see some different stuff. And whether this is your cup of tea or not, that is the case with everything. But if you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit, out of the ordinary, so to speak, this might be a nice little option. It's got a very pokey blade. Feels like it comes down nice and thin. And why don't we go ahead and we'll see what kind of edge they put on this 20 CV. So lucky for all of us, I found a brand new Yellow Pages phone book close by. So we have a full telephone book back again to give me misery, as well as cause some knives to really, really struggle. But in the case of this rye here, this is eating this stuff for a snack. It has got a very nice edge on it. I thought it came down nice and thin, so if they put a good edge on there, we'd be in store for a nice pokey, slicey baby. And like I said, guys, we had the measuring tape out, and I didn't do it because we were in the pocket, I guess. But this is going to be in a lot of people's wheelhouses now. Coming in 20 CV and coming in titanium, we're looking at just shy of 3¼ inches, and we're looking at about 3 7/16 for your overall, and then we are just over 7½ inches. So not quite at that full size length for me personally. About 8 inches will do the trick, or close. This is just under that, so definitely considered a mid-size knife for me. Something I would love to carry as a backup, right, to a primary. I like something a little bit bigger than this, around 8 inches or bigger, and then something like this to back that up. And then sometimes we go crazy with like a slip joint or a third knife that's even, smaller, just a little utility slicer possibly. But I think this would sit very well as a secondary, possibly a 5th pocket carry, and depending on your hand size or just the length that you prefer, some people like that 7.5 inch. A lot of people do. So this is going to be in a vast majority of people's size requirements. Now, is it your cup of tea with the blade shape, with the 20 CV, with the anodized aluminum and dimpling? That's going to be ultimately up to you. But I've said it a couple of times this year, Kansept, it is awesome to see. I love knives. I love creating content on knives. But the reason I do this is because I just love knives. I love knives. So anything that's better for knives, anything that, improves upon knives, more knives out there, better knives out there. It's just better for everybody. That gives us more solid options. It gives us just all kinds of different styles and takes and materials and price points. It's just awesome. So when a mainstream company like Kansept uh, continues to put out a very solid product, and their OEM work, I got to handle some non-branded Kansept knives, just OEM projects that they have done, and they are so good. Just you're like, oh, that's a Kansept, damn. So they're getting to a level, I think their highest level yet, and I look for them to kind of continue this upward trajectory and start putting their names up there with the best of them. It's hard to keep up with some companies as far as how many knives they put out each month. There are a couple companies that it would be extremely hard to keep up with. You know the companies I'm talking about. Kansept does have more and more releases coming each month. There was a time where they didn't have a whole lot come out. And now it seems like they're updating older models. They're putting new models out, doing a little bit of everything. So it's been really great to see. I hope they keep it up because they're doing a fantastic job. You guys will have to let me know, what do you think of Kansept period and what they've been doing lately? And what do you think of the new rye here? I love hearing from you guys. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I always appreciate that, everyone. If you're new here, we release videos just like this one on knives and EDC gear every single day. Hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell as well. Would love to have you here. Otherwise, I'll throw up a couple of new videos. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.